Salutations to the nations. What's good, Angel Knots? It's your boy Young Sinai. So before we kick things off, if I have any prayer warriors, please just be praying for my city. There were 4 tornadoes that touched down earlier this week, all on the same day. I am in St. Louis. Now, fortunately, thank God, I don't live by where it happened, although I do have family members who do, as well as people that I know. A lot of people lost their homes, and it's just a really sad situation. So just please keep them in your prayers. Moving on to some stuff that's a lighter note. Today we are going to be reacting to DC hates and disrespects Static Shock. Okay, I used to watch Static Shock as a kid. I don't remember a whole bunch of it. I ain't gonna hold you, but I did like it. You know what I'm saying? But this video is by M Enterprises. Make sure that you go check them out. All right, let's go ahead and take a look.
Me! Because you're black!
Well, it's about time. A whole video dedicated to my favorite DC chocolate-covered brother, Static.
What?
Everybody's raving about Miles Morales' Spider-Man these days thanks to the popularity and success of the Spider-Verse movies and the Insomniac Spider-Man games, which kind of all bloomed around the same time. But many years prior to the creation of Miles Morales, Static was pretty much
we need a Static Shock video game. That mug will be hard.
The black teen superhero, effectively providing the representation that was needed in the superhero space, a character that the black nerd community could actually relate and look up to. The creatives over at Milestone Comics believed they needed to have a teenage superhero when they
what's up with all black superhero? Matter of fact, there's a video about this. I don't remember who made it, but it's something I noticed too. Like, all black superheroes dag near got electricity powers. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's look. All right, even Miles Morales, he got the Venom charge thing. Static Shock, obviously. Storm, okay. Who else? Does Black Panther have some electricity? It's more. I just can't think because it's 12:22 at night.
First launched the Milestone universe, as Dwayne McDuffie wanted to fill the void of having a prominent teen superhero with real-life problems, since Peter Parker at the time had grown into a full-grown adult and was married to Mary Jane, crafting a character that was grounded in the social and cultural reality of the time. And after all this time of making videos on DC characters, my boy Virgil Hawkins finally gets his own dedicated entry.
Hey, that's some real good shit, my nigga, for real. Congratulations, nigga.
Many felt that there was a lack of proper diversity in comics, where a lot of diverse characters in the superhero space never got their proper due and were sort of tossed to the side or riddled with stereotypes. Dwayne McDuffie, Dennis Cowan, Michael Davis, and Derek T. Dingle all teamed up to combat this by creating their own comic book company named Milestone Media. They created a space for black and underrepresented comic book creators to succeed in their own right, creating their own set of characters and continuity called the Dakotaverse, which all mostly took place in the fictional city of Dakota. This is where you would see the emergence of heroes like Static, Icon, Hardware, and Rocket. DC Comics agreed to a partnership with Milestone in 1993, where Milestone would still be independent and have full creative control.
This is dope. I never knew this. I always thought that Static just came directly from DC, so this is pretty interesting.
Over the characters and stories, while DC would have publishing and distribution rights. The first 4 titles launched in this new initiative were the first issues of Hardware, Icon, Static, and Blood Syndicate. One of the key focuses of the work culture in Milestone was to give attention to talent from a range of ethnic and cultural backgrounds who had trouble making a name for themselves in the comic book industry. It wasn't just a space for hiring only black comic artists and writers. What made Milestone Comics stand out was their devotion to tackling issues not often seen in traditional American comics, like racism and police brutality. After making comics for about 4 years, Milestone Media unfortunately shut down its comic division in 1997 due to a major downturn in comic sales in the industry after the boom of comic sales in the early 90s, as well as some misconceptions of Milestone books being suited only for black readers despite being intended for a wider, diverse audience. The editor-in-chief of DC Comics back when Milestone Media first came about about wanted to pitch cartoons about some of the Milestone characters. A bunch of Milestone projects were pitched over the years before Static was ultimately chosen to get his own animated series. Dennis Cowan would end up working.
So, let me know, did you read the Static Shock comic book first or see the cartoon first? Because I think the majority of us saw the cartoon first. I'm going to keep it a buck. Low key, I didn't even know that there was a Static Shock comic book until years and years later.
With the writers and producers of previous DCAU shows to develop Static Shock. Dwayne McDuffie would go on to write several episodes of the show as well. The Static Shock cartoon shared many similarities with the source material, though there were a few notable differences, such as Static's costume design and a change to Virgil Hawkins' backstory where his mother
I think his costume design on the comic book looked harder.
Had died prior to the show's events, whereas in the comics she was still alive when he became Static. Additionally, Richie Foley would end up being Static's confidant in the show instead of Frida, who in the comics was Static's best friend who knew his secret identity. Static Shock was one of the first shows to have an African-American superhero as the lead. It's kind of crazy to think about how it's one of the only prominent cartoons or shows centering on a black superhero.
I never knew how important it would be to meet a role model like you. A black superhero. It validates me somehow. Sometimes I wish there was a black superhero back home for folks to...
Yo, is that Miles Morales? What? Hold on. I know it ain't because that's Marvel and DC, but I mean, low key, hold on, let me run it back.
Superhero. It validates me somehow. Sometimes I...
Look, it is... No, I'm not even joking. I'm dead serious. Is this Miles Morales? I don't remember this episode. Was Miles Morales even a thing? That dude, it's a freaking spider on his shirt and on his hat. And he's literally wearing Miles colors. Is that Miles Morales? Was Miles Morales a character? Let me know.
I wish there was a black superhero back home for folks to look up to.
But there is, and he is my hero too.
Fortunately, the show...
Okay, he definitely don't talk like Miles. Talk like he from Wakanda.
Show was met with really positive reception. It was the highest rated show across all the networks for its particular time slot, aiming at kids from ages 2 to 11. The only show to outperform Static Shock consistently on Kids WB when it was airing its final season would be Pokemon, and the show would continue to do even better in ratings once it ran reruns on Cartoon Network. One of the things that made Static Shock stand out so much was the way it was able to incorporate the standard beats you'd see in a kids cartoon, while also not shying away from very serious topics that occurred in the real world, and was representative of what teens could be going through back then or really at any time period. You think back on the restrictions many children's cartoons faced on what they couldn't say or show. They literally couldn't call Slade Wilson Deathstroke in the Teen Titans cartoon due to censorship reasons. Meanwhile, Static's powers, like in the comics, are a result of gang violence, and you see one of his gangbanger friends give him a gun right before the Big Bang. Or how about the fact that Virgil's best friend's dad was a straight up racist?
And now I see why Richie acts like a hood, Maggie. That kid's a bad influence. All his kind are. If I gotta deal with them all day long. Now one of them's in my house.
My best friend's gone because of you and your stupid racism.
Hey!
One of the most...
Dang, man. Well, hey, yo. I had a lot of white friends in middle school. I still have a lot of white friends. But especially in elementary school and middle school, because I went to, well, after fourth grade. So fourth grade through freshman year. No, I'm sorry. Fourth grade through eighth grade. I went to predominantly white school, and I would hang out at their houses sometimes after school. I don't know what my reaction would be if I heard one of their parents talking like that. That would be kind of wild. That might change the dynamic of our friendship. I ain't gonna lie.
Famous episodes of the show was the 11th episode of the second season titled Jimmy, where a kid gets picked on throughout the episode and brings his dad's handgun to school to confront his bully. But Virgil's best friend Richie Foley ends up getting caught in the crossfire and is shot in the process. Then
dang, he got draked. He got Degrassi draked.
At the end of the episode, Static delivers a PS
wheelchair jimmied
say directly to the audience about the dangers and ramifications of gun violence, particularly.
That's crazy that they was like hitting those type of heavy topics on like a kid show. That's crazy.
For young teenagers and kids. The show actually won a Humanitas Award in the children's animation category because of this episode. I mean, hell, Static in the 9th episode of the 4th and final season taught kids about dyslexia and how those struggling with it can seek help and overcome their challenges.
Whoever said comics don't teach you anything?
Throughout its duration, Static Shock would additionally get nominated for a handful of Daytime Emmy Awards. Damn, they really crafted a dread-headed superhero who was not only dripped out, funny, relatable, and taught kids about important life lessons. These levels of sauce were just simply not common.
The kid's got style.
Another cool thing about the Static Shock cartoon was its ties to the DC animated universe of shows. There would be a couple of references to certain characters in the first season, but the connective tissues really started to manifest in the beginning of the second season, where the Glorious King and Robin traveled to Dakota to track down the Joker and eventually team up with Static. This would be the gateway in allowing Static to have future team-ups with
Dope. Yo, let me know. All right, I might have to go ahead and do a poll for this one. Batman the Animated Series or Batman Beyond? I know, Batman Animated Series is classic. It's almost like a ridiculous question, but Batman Beyond, that show was super good.
Batman and the rest of the Justice League once in a while. Static teamed up with Batman the most, having around 4 or so crossovers, including the Batman Beyond Future episode and the Justice League episode.
Batman's not gonna be happy when he hears how you've been treating his guests.
I'm Batman.
And I'm Beyonce.
You know this kid? He says his name's Beyonce.
Really, nigga?
He would
Dang, that's hilarious.
go on to have an episode teaming up with Superman and another with Jon Stewart's Green Lantern, both of whom, funnily enough, are voiced by Phil Lamar. The Teen Titans were confirmed to have been established in the DCAU, even though we never see them. Alan Burnett wanted to set the stage for a Static and Titans crossover before the Teen Titans cartoon aired in 2003. The main concern was that the Static episode that mentions the Titans would air before the pilot of Teen Titans, and they decided to go with a Justice League crossover later on instead. To clarify, the Teen Titans cartoon is not in the same universe as Static Shock and the rest of the DCAU, but I guess that might have been the initial intent.
Where's Robin?
With the Titans.
Who?
You'll meet him someday.
Despite all of the show's success, Static Shock would be cancelled after 4 seasons, primarily because of low merchandise sales. Due to the costs of Western animation at the time, the only way for a
What, you mean to tell me they wasn't selling them garbage can lids? That's crazy.
show to make profit was via revenue from toys, clothing, and other typical merchandise tied to a hit series. Static Shock was unable to grab the interest of a lot of toy companies and other merchandise distributors.
Well, if it's a cartoon, we got to get a toy. So they went to the toy company and brought the character designs and the premise and everything. And the toy company said, nah, we don't really see a market for a character like that. But we all know exactly what they meant.
Yeah.
Dang, not as action figure racism. That's crazy. That's wild work.
Yeah.
That decision to not have merch was one of the reasons that after 4
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a Static Shock action, definitely not an action figure. Shoot, I'm trying to think if I even seen a Static Shock t-shirt before. Have you ever seen a Static Shock t-shirt? I could be tripping. I mean, I feel like they got t-shirts for everything, but I don't know if I've ever seen one.
seasons of being the top rated show on that Saturday morning network thing, Static Shock got canceled because it wasn't making them no extra money.
No, you get your goddamn ass out of here!
And there it is, not even 5 seconds. The Americans are ruthless as usual. Racism is running amok out there. They definitely are going to have to find
All right, y'all. That's enough of this. All right, yo. That's a really good video. If you want, you can go check out the rest. It's a lot left in the video. I think that was a good ending point. But yeah, let me know in the comments. Have you watched Static Shock? Have you ever seen a Static Shock t-shirt? Why do you think that so many black characters have electric powers? And which one do you prefer? Nah. I was gonna say I'm gonna save it for the poll. Batman Beyond, Batman animated series. We're gonna save it for the poll. If you want to get in on that, you can subscribe and then you can vote there. Also, please make sure that you sub because I will be giving away my Trim UI brick. Once I get 1,000 subs, you can see how to enter that in the post in the community tab. So I appreciate y'all. God bless and salutations to the nations. Peace.
Angel Knot.